after you left today, I decided to do a mushroom trip, and I took like 1.2 grams of the ones that I picked the other day. And anyway, I'm gonna try to tell you about it. I just kind of went for a walk around the house and then to the dark forest, and I guess back the other way to the left where there's a little bit of a nature reserve. And I just kind of wandered between those three areas for a while. I don't know, everything was beautiful. It was like a movie where everything just seemed so important and so beautiful. Like it was, I don't know, like a scene where everything seemed like you could stay there. And there were especially a lot of like these little fruit fly colony gnat things. I'm not sure what they're called, but just like buzzing around in these circles every now and then too, which, I don't know, it just always caught my eye, and I thought they were really beautiful to just stare at. And then sometimes I felt when I stood in between them that I could feel their motion, and they wouldn't land on me if I kind of swayed with them, but I just had to feel that as it happened. I couldn't control it. Every time I tried to go with them, they landed on me, and then I realized I ruined their motion. And then I also went to the left and up the hill a bit where there's a really nice lookout, and I sat on the top, and I just felt like every time I was breathing, I was controlling all the air in the universe. Like all the wind in the universe was my breath, and I couldn't really tell if I was actually just sitting there as like the vessel, like if something was making me breathe and then I was kind of releasing it into the universe, or if it was actually my own breath, and that, or if, I couldn't tell anyway, if we were in sync or if it was just me. But that was really powerful and really beautiful to feel. I don't know. And then I felt in sync with everything in the nature. I don't know, as well as the motions. It felt like I could feel vibrations of the earth that normally aren't even there. I don't know. It was really beautiful. Anyway, and I just kept walking a lot, and I walked through the dark forest, and I just kind of found a few patches of grass and wrote a few things down. And one spot I really enjoyed was just sitting where you can see the path, but the people can't see you. So I just sat there and watched people walk by. And I kept being scared that they were going to find me and think that I was lost, or I was sad, or I was confused. But I was like, no, you're the ones who I'm trying to hide myself from. Like, I don't want you to find me so that you're not worried. But I'm totally fine, and I want to be here. That's what I kept thinking. So anyway, I'll have to show you that spot. And I guess the last significant moment that I wanted to share with you is, when you come out of our house and go left, there's a little bit of like a nature reserve. And I just had sat there at the beginning, and I thought it was beautiful. But then I went back there at the end, and I found this little seedling of a tree. It was like sitting in what looked like a really big spot, like a big land clearing with this little tiny seedling. And I don't know why, it just caught my eye. But then when I went up to it and I touched it, I could feel that it was sad, and it was not sad, but it was full of fear, and it was scared. And it made me sad, and I started crying. And because I felt its fear. And it, like, the more I looked at it, the more I could also see that it was like trembling, and it looked like it was just like a little baby thinking like, Mom, I need help, kind of a thing. And so anyway, I started crying, and it was like one of the few times I'd cried in this trip. I actually didn't cry that much, and when I did, it was all not really sadness. It was more just like overwhelming feelings that just came out in tears. And even for this tree, it was fear. I felt its fear, and I started crying. And then after I started crying, I realized that it was just because it was such a small tree and it had such a big hole to fill. And it was scared. I don't know. I was like intimidated that it would even make it. And it was, I guess, scared to think like, how am I going to fill this hole? How am I going to do this? I don't know. Being with the tree and feeling its fear made me feel really empowered, even though I was with it and I was feeling the fear and I was feeling like these tears and I guess a little bit of sadness, frightened sadness. I was also really there with it, and I was like inspired by it, and I was thinking, you can do this. Of course you can do this. You'll be totally fine. But I didn't know how to make it know that. I didn't know how I could teach it that it would be fine. I just knew that I wanted it to know that it would be fine. So anyway, maybe I'm still tripping a little bit. I'm looking right now into the nature, and it's just so beautiful. And everywhere I look, it's just so beautiful. Even when it's not actually beautiful, if you just stay and look at it a little bit longer, everything becomes beautiful. So maybe I'm not done tripping yet.